Your old self will remain your master until you stop obeying the thoughts, habits, and judgments that have ruled your choices. You may already know the moments when you act against reason and accept weakness instead of discipline. This series asks you to examine your mind, separate what you control from what you cannot, and return daily to virtue through deliberate action. If you are ready to live with greater awareness and self-command, subscribe and join others committed to practicing Stoic principles with honesty and consistency. You will confront the beliefs that limit you, the habits that weaken you, and the choices that reveal your true character. Do not seek comfort before growth or approval before integrity. Seek clarity in judgment, strength in discipline, and peace through accepting only what is within your responsibility. Begin this work today with a mind prepared to govern itself through reason and virtuous living. Number 1. Destroy the weak inner self. The first battle you must fight is not against the world around you. It is against the part of yourself that has accepted weakness as a way of life, the part that delays what must be done, complains about what cannot be changed, and allows emotions to rule decisions. This is the old self that must disappear, not because you hate who you were, but because you refuse to remain a prisoner of your former habits. The person you were yesterday is not your enemy, but the patterns that controlled you must be examined and removed. Stoicism teaches that a human being is not destroyed by events, but by the judgments and choices they make about those events. Look honestly at yourself. How many times have you given your peace away because someone disappointed you? How many times have you abandoned your purpose because the path became difficult? How many times have you allowed comfort to defeat discipline? The weak inner self survives through excuses. It grows stronger every time you choose avoidance over responsibility. The Stoics understood that the greatest victory is victory over yourself. The person who cannot command their own thoughts, desires, and reactions is not truly free. Freedom begins when you stop obeying every impulse that appears in your mind. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the opinions they form about things. Your anger, your fear, your frustration, and your disappointment are often not created by reality itself, but by the meaning you attach to reality. The old self reacts immediately. The disciplined self pauses, examines, and chooses. Begin your transformation with one simple Stoic practice. Create a space between what happens and how you respond. When someone insults you, pause. When failure appears, pause. When temptation calls, pause. In that small moment of silence, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that your mind belongs to you, not to every passing emotion. Your old self wants immediate satisfaction. It wants praise without effort, success without struggle, and comfort without sacrifice. But nature does not reward the undisciplined mind. Strength is built through resistance. Character is formed when you choose what is right over what is easy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The old self wastes energy fighting what cannot be controlled. The wiser self invests energy into what can be governed: thoughts, actions, choices, and character. Ask yourself each morning, what kind of person will I choose to be today? Not what will I gain, not what will others think of me, but what virtue will I practice? Will the first be patient when challenged? Will the first remain honest when no one is watching? Will the first act with courage when discomfort appears? These questions train the mind to move away from weakness and toward excellence. You must also practice voluntary discomfort. The old self is controlled by comfort. It avoids difficulty because difficulty exposes its weakness, but the Stoic uses difficulty as training. Choose small challenges deliberately. Wake when you planned to wake. Complete the task you wanted to avoid. Remain calm when you feel the urge to complain. Each time you deny unnecessary comfort, you prove to yourself that you are not controlled by your desires. Seneca warned that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. The old self creates endless fears about what might happen, then allows those fears to prevent action. But a disciplined mind does not live inside imagined disasters. It faces the present moment and handles the task in front of it. Your transformation does not begin when the world changes. It begins when your judgments change. You do not need a different life to become stronger. You need a stronger mind to face the life you already have. Tonight, examine yourself without excuses. Ask, where did I allow weakness to lead me today? Where did I act without wisdom? Where did I surrender control? Do not ask these questions to punish yourself. Ask them because an honest mind is the only mind capable of improvement. The old self disappears one choice at a time. It disappears when you stop defending your flaws and start correcting them. It disappears when you stop blaming circumstances and start governing yourself. Do not wait for a perfect moment to begin. The moment you recognize your weakness is the moment you are given the opportunity to overcome it. The person you become is created by the choices you repeat. Remove the habits that make you smaller. Strengthen the virtues that make you better. Train your mind until it becomes your greatest ally. Your old self is not defeated by words. It is defeated by action. Begin today. The work of mastering yourself has already begun. Number 2. Embrace change through Stoic discipline. Change is not the enemy of the disciplined mind. Resistance to change is. Every moment of your life is moving, whether you accept it or not. Time passes, circumstances shift, people leave, opportunities appear, and challenges arrive. Yet many people suffer because they demand that life remain exactly as they want it to be. They fight reality instead of learning how to live wisely within it. The undisciplined mind believes peace comes from controlling everything outside itself. It believes happiness depends on perfect conditions, predictable outcomes, and the approval of others. But this belief creates constant frustration because the world does not obey personal desires. Stoic discipline begins when you stop asking life to follow your plans and start training yourself to respond with wisdom to whatever arrives. Your greatest obstacle is not change itself. It is the judgment you place upon change. An unexpected event happens, and immediately the mind declares it unfair, unbearable, or disastrous. Before the event has even harmed you, your own interpretation has already created suffering. The Stoic does not rush to judgment. The Stoic examines the impression before accepting it as truth. When something unexpected enters your life, practice the Stoic pause. Do not immediately say, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "What is required of me now?" The first question comes from resistance. The second comes from reason. Your circumstances may change without permission, but your character remains your responsibility. You cannot command every event, but you can command the quality of your response. This is where true discipline begins. The person who depends on external stability will always be vulnerable. The person who develops inner stability can face uncertainty without losing themselves. Epictetus taught that we must distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. Your effort is yours. Your judgment is yours. Your choices are yours. The actions of others, the passing of time, and the outcome of every situation are not yours to own. Much suffering comes from carrying a burden that was never placed in your hands. Look at your daily life. How much energy do you spend trying to change people who do not want to change? How much time do you waste replaying conversations that cannot be rewritten? How often do you allow tomorrow's possibilities to steal today's attention? The disciplined mind does not waste itself on battles it cannot win. Begin each morning with a deliberate examination. Before the world demands your attention, remind yourself, today I may encounter difficulty. People may act without wisdom. Plans may fail, but my judgment and my actions remain my responsibility. This preparation does not make you negative. It makes you ready. Marcus Aurelius practiced preparing his mind for the nature of life itself. He understood that obstacles are not interruptions to the human experience. They are part of it. A disciplined person does not ask why hardship exists. A disciplined person asks how to meet hardship with virtue. Change reveals the condition of your mind. When your routine breaks, your patience is tested. When your expectations fail, your attachment is exposed. When someone challenges your opinion, your humility is measured. These moments are not enemies, they are opportunities to see yourself clearly. The old way of living is to react first and think later. The Stoic way is to observe, judge carefully, and act according to reason. Between every event and every response lies a place where your character is formed. Train yourself to stand there. Seneca reminded us that difficulties strengthen the mind when they are met with courage and wisdom. A person who avoids every challenge remains fragile because they have never tested their own ability to endure. Discipline is not created by comfort. It is created when you repeatedly choose what is right despite discomfort. Practice accepting small changes each day. Let plans shift without anger. Let delays occur without complaint. Let minor inconveniences become training grounds for patience. These small moments prepare you for greater challenges because the mind becomes strong through repeated practice. Do not mistake acceptance for weakness. Acceptance is seeing reality clearly without wasting energy wishing it were different. From acceptance comes effective action. Once you stop fighting what already exists, you can finally direct your strength toward what can be improved. Each evening, examine yourself honestly. Where did you resist reality today? Where did you allow frustration to control your judgment? Where did you choose a complaint when you could have chosen discipline? The purpose of reflection is not self-condemnation, it is correction. A disciplined life is not built by avoiding change. It is built by becoming the kind of person who can face change without losing their center. The world will continue moving, seasons will change, circumstances will rise and fall. The question is not whether life will transform around you. The question is whether you will have the wisdom to transform with it. Do not wait for life to become easier before you become stronger. Train your mind now. Accept what arrives. Govern what belongs to you. Release what does not. Return every day to reason, virtue, and self-command. The person who learns to embrace change no longer lives as a victim of circumstances. They become a person guided by discipline, prepared for uncertainty, and capable of meeting every moment with a steady mind. Number 3. Let go of past identity. The person you were yesterday is not a permanent definition of who you must remain. Yet many people continue carrying an identity built from old mistakes, old failures, old fears, and old judgments. They say, "This is just who I am," as if their past has the authority to control their future. But the Stoic mind understands that every moment gives you the opportunity to act according to reason rather than remain trapped by memory. Your past can teach you, but it cannot command you. The events that shaped you are not the same as the person you choose to become. The mistake is not remembering what happened. The mistake is allowing what happened to become an excuse for what you do today. Look carefully at the identity you protect. Perhaps you still see yourself as the person who was rejected. Perhaps you still define yourself by a failure that happened years ago. Perhaps you continue repeating the same behaviors because they match the story you have accepted about yourself. This is how the mind becomes imprisoned. It does not need chains when it has convinced itself that change is impossible. Stoic discipline begins when you separate facts from judgments. A fact says, "I made a mistake." A judgment says, "I am a failure." A fact says, "Someone treated me unfairly." A judgment says, "I will never trust anyone again." The first allows wisdom. The second creates a prison. Epictetus taught that your character is shaped by the choices you make with the circumstances given to you. You are not defined by what happened before. You are defined by how you use the present moment. Every morning, before the noise of the world enters your mind, practice remembering this. Today I am not required to repeat yesterday. Today I am responsible for my judgment, my actions, and my character. This simple reflection brings your attention back to what belongs to you. The old identity survives because you keep feeding it with attention. Every time you replay old regrets without learning from them, you strengthen the past. Every time you use previous pain as a reason to avoid responsibility, you give yesterday control over today. A disciplined mind does not erase the past. It examines it. It takes the lesson and releases the burden. Wisdom does not come from pretending mistakes never happened. Wisdom comes from refusing to become the same person who made them. Marcus Aurelius understood that life is always in motion and that the mind must remain prepared to meet each new moment with virtue. He reminded himself that each day is a new opportunity to live according to reason, not according to old impressions. The person who constantly looks backward cannot fully govern the moment in front of them. Ask yourself honestly, what part of my identity is built from a judgment I no longer need to carry? Perhaps it is the belief that you are not capable. Perhaps it is the belief that your circumstances determine your worth. Perhaps it is the belief that other people's opinions have the power to define you. These beliefs are not facts. They are impressions that have been accepted without examination. The Stoic practice is to challenge every thought before allowing it to rule you. When a thought appears, ask, is this within my control? Is this based on reason? Does accepting this thought help me live with virtue? If the answer is no, you have no obligation to obey it. Seneca warned that people often suffer because they remain attached to things that no longer serve them. The past becomes heavy when you carry it without purpose. You do not honor your previous self by repeating its weaknesses. You honor it by learning from its errors and choosing better actions. Let go of the need to defend who you used to be. You do not need to prove that your old choices were correct. You only need the courage to make wiser choices now. Practice releasing your old identity through your actions. If you were once ruled by anger, practice patience. If you were once controlled by fear, practice courage. If you were once guided by selfish desire, practice fairness. The new self is not created by declaring change. It is created through repeated acts of virtue. Each evening, examine the person you were that day, not the person you wish others saw, not the person you pretend to be, the actual person revealed through your choices. Where did you act from old habits? Where did you allow the past to influence the present? Where did you choose reason over reaction? This examination is the path to freedom, because you cannot change what you refuse to see. Your history is a teacher, not a ruler. Your memories are information, not commands. Your previous self is a chapter, not the entire book. The disciplined person does not spend life trying to become someone else. They remove what is false, correct what is weak, and return to the principles that allow human beings to live with dignity. The past has already taken its portion of your time. Do not give it more. Take the lesson, release the attachment, and step forward with a mind prepared for virtue. You are not required to remain the person you once were. Every choice made with wisdom is proof that your identity is not owned by your past, but shaped by your reason today. Number 4. Master your mind before transformation. Before you attempt to transform your life, you must first master the place where every action begins, your own mind. A person who cannot govern their thoughts will always be controlled by circumstances, emotions, and impulses. The greatest battles are not fought outside of you. They are fought in the quiet moments when your mind decides what to believe, what to fear, and what to pursue. Many people search for transformation by changing their surroundings while leaving their inner world untouched. They change locations, chase new goals, seek approval, and collect achievements, but they carry the same undisciplined mind into every new situation. Without mastery of thought, every external change becomes temporary because the source of disorder remains untouched. Your mind is constantly making judgments. It labels events as good or bad, success or failure, victory or defeat. But the event itself does not command your peace. Your interpretation of the event does. The Stoic understands that before changing life, you must examine the thoughts through which you experience life. Ask yourself, how many times have you allowed a single opinion from another person to ruin your entire day? How many times have you imagined problems that never arrived? How many times have you reacted to a thought as if it were a fact? This is where the undisciplined mind loses its freedom. It accepts every impression without investigation. Epictetus taught that the first task of philosophy is to examine our impressions. A thought appears, but you are not required to obey it. You have the ability to question it, test it, and decide whether it deserves your attention. Begin practicing this discipline by creating moments of awareness throughout your day. When anger rises, observe it before expressing it. When desire pulls you toward distraction, observe it before following it. When fear speaks, ask whether it is warning you wisely or simply demanding control. The pause between impulse and action is where self-mastery is built. Your mind is like a field. Whatever you repeatedly allow to enter will eventually grow. If you constantly feed it resentment, comparison, and complaint, those patterns become stronger. If you train it with patience, reason, and discipline, those qualities become easier to practice. Marcus Aurelius spent his life reminding himself that the mind must remain directed by reason rather than disturbed by every external event. He understood that a person's inner condition determines the quality of their existence. A wealthy person with a chaotic mind is still poor in the place that matters most. The first discipline of transformation is attention. Notice where your mind goes when no one is watching. Does it return to gratitude or dissatisfaction? Does it search for solutions or excuses? Does it focus on what you can improve or what you wish you could control? The mind often becomes weak because it is never trained. People train their bodies, develop skills, and build careers, but they leave their thoughts without guidance. Then they wonder why emotions control them, why distractions defeat them, and why small difficulties feel unbearable. Train your mind daily. Each morning, decide the qualities you will practice before the world tests you. Choose patience before frustration appears. Choose honesty before temptation arrives. Choose courage before difficulty presents itself. Preparation gives reason the first voice before emotion tries to take control. The Stoic method is not to eliminate emotions, but to prevent emotions from becoming your master. Anger may appear, but you decide whether anger receives your action. Fear may appear, but you decide whether fear receives your obedience. Desire may appear, but you decide whether desire receives your direction. Seneca taught that a person who has conquered themselves possesses a strength greater than someone who only conquers external circumstances. External victories can be taken away. Inner discipline remains because it is built within your own character. Practice separating what belongs to your command from what does not. Your effort belongs to you. Your choices belong to you. Your attitude belongs to you. But the reaction of others, the outcome of every attempt, and the events of the world do not belong to you. A clear mind does not waste its power trying to control what was never its possession. At night, examine the rule your mind followed throughout the day. Did reason guide you, or did impulse lead you? Did you act from virtue, or did you surrender to convenience? Did you strengthen your character, or did you reinforce old weaknesses? This honest review is how the mind becomes sharper. Do not seek transformation while neglecting the instrument that creates transformation. Your thoughts create your judgments. Your judgments influence your actions. Your actions reveal your character. Everything begins within the mind. The person who masters their mind does not become unaffected by life. They become prepared for life. They meet success without arrogance, failure without collapse, criticism without bitterness, and uncertainty without panic. Before you attempt to change the world around you, change the way you meet the world within you. A disciplined mind is the foundation of a disciplined life. Govern your thoughts, examine your judgments, return to reason every day. When your mind becomes your servant instead of your ruler, you finally begin the transformation you have been searching for. Number 5. Silence the old limiting beliefs. The most dangerous limitations you face are not the ones placed upon you by the world. They are the ones you have accepted inside your own mind. A person can be surrounded by opportunities and still remain trapped if their own judgments convince them that they are incapable, unworthy, or destined to remain the same. The mind has a habit of turning past experiences into permanent conclusions. A single failure becomes, "I always fail." One rejection becomes, "I am not valued." One difficult moment becomes, "I cannot handle this." These thoughts appear simple, but when repeated without examination, they become invisible commands controlling your choices. Stoicism teaches that the mind must never accept an impression without investigation. A thought is not automatically truth simply because it appears in your consciousness. The disciplined person questions the thoughts that attempt to govern their actions. Look carefully at the beliefs you carry. Which ones came from reason and which ones came from fear? Which beliefs were formed through wisdom and which were created during moments of weakness? Many people defend their limitations as if they were facts when they are only untested opinions. Epictetus taught that the first step toward freedom is understanding what truly belongs to you. Your circumstances may have influenced your past, but they do not have authority over your judgment today. You may have experienced hardship, disappointment, or failure, but the meaning you give those experiences remains your responsibility. The old limiting beliefs survive because they are rarely challenged. They operate quietly beneath your decisions. They tell you not to begin because you might fail. They tell you not to speak because you might be judged. They tell you to remain comfortable because difficulty might reveal your weaknesses. But the Stoic does not ask, "How do I avoid discomfort?" The Stoic asks, "What virtue is required from me in this moment?" Courage is required when fear appears. Wisdom is required when confusion appears. Discipline is required when temptation appears. Begin each morning by examining the beliefs that will influence your day. Before accepting any thought, ask, "Does this thought make me more rational, more courageous, and more capable of living with virtue?" If it leads you toward avoidance and weakness, it does not deserve your obedience. Your mind must become a place of order. Do not allow every fear, memory, or opinion to take control of your attention. A person who gives every thought equal authority will always be pulled in different directions. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the quality of life depends on the quality of thoughts. He understood that the mind does not become powerful by avoiding difficult thoughts. It becomes powerful by choosing which thoughts deserve trust. Consider how often you create suffering by imagining what others think of you. You cannot control their opinions. You cannot enter another person's mind and rearrange their judgments. Yet many people sacrifice their peace trying to manage something that was never theirs to control. Release the need to prove yourself to everyone. Your duty is not to satisfy every external opinion. Your duty is to live according to reason and virtue. The person who acts with integrity does not need constant approval because their own conscience becomes their guide. Practice replacing automatic beliefs with deliberate judgments. When the mind says, "I cannot," examine the evidence. When it says, "It is too difficult," ask whether difficulty is actually a reason to quit or an opportunity to develop strength. When it says, "I am trapped," ask what action is still within your control. This is how the mind is trained, not through empty optimism, but through honest examination. Seneca taught that many people are not truly lacking ability. They are limited by the fears they allow to govern them. The mind often suffers more from imagined barriers than real ones. The disciplined person learns to separate reality from the stories created by anxiety. Do not seek to destroy every uncomfortable thought. Some thoughts reveal areas where growth is needed. Instead, learn to listen without surrendering. A wise person can acknowledge fear without becoming controlled by fear. A wise person can recognize doubt without allowing doubt to decide their path. Each evening, review the beliefs that influenced your actions. Did you avoid something because it was truly impossible, or because you feared the challenge? Did you remain silent because silence was wise, or because insecurity controlled you? Did you choose comfort because it was necessary, or because discipline was missing? This honest examination is where transformation begins. The mind that once created limitations can become the source of freedom when it is guided by reason. Your thoughts are tools, not rulers. Your beliefs are judgments, not permanent laws. They must be tested against wisdom. You do not need to become someone completely different. You need to remove the false ideas that have prevented you from living according to your nature. The strongest version of yourself is not created by adding endless desires. It is revealed when unnecessary fears and mistaken beliefs are removed. Silence the beliefs that weaken you. Replace them with reason. Train your judgment. Return daily to virtue. A disciplined mind is not one that never experiences doubt. It is one that refuses to let doubt command its actions. When you govern the beliefs within you, you begin to govern the life before you. Number 6. Rebuild yourself with inner strength. The strength you need is not found in controlling the world around you. It is found in building a mind that remains steady when the world refuses to follow your wishes. Many people search for power through possessions, recognition, and influence. But the Stoic understands that the greatest power is the ability to govern oneself. A person without inner strength is easily moved by every event. A compliment lifts them. A criticism breaks them. Success makes them arrogant. Failure makes them hopeless. Their emotions become a chain because they have never trained themselves to stand firmly within their own character. Rebuilding yourself begins by accepting a difficult truth. The life you have created reflects the habits you have practiced. If your mind has been trained to avoid difficulty, complain about challenges, or seek constant comfort, then weakness is not a mystery. It is the result of repeated choices. But the same principle that created weakness can create strength. Every disciplined action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every moment where you choose reason over impulse strengthens your character. The Stoics never believed strength came from avoiding hardship. They understood that hardship reveals what exists within you. A person who has never faced resistance does not know the true condition of their own mind. Difficulty is the place where character becomes visible. Begin rebuilding yourself by taking responsibility for your inner state. Stop waiting for circumstances to become perfect before you act with wisdom. The person who says, "I will become disciplined when life becomes easier," has already surrendered control. Discipline is not created by easy conditions. Discipline is created when you choose the right action despite difficult conditions. Each morning, prepare your mind before entering the world. Remind yourself that challenges will appear, people will disagree with you, and plans may not unfold as expected. This preparation does not create fear, it creates readiness. A trained mind is not surprised by difficulty because it understands that difficulty is part of human life. Epictetus taught that progress begins when we stop blaming external things and start examining ourselves. The moment you take ownership of your judgments and actions, you regain the ability to improve. Ask yourself honestly, where have I allowed weakness to become a habit? Where have I avoided responsibility because it was uncomfortable? Where have I chosen immediate pleasure over long-term character? These questions are not meant to attack you. They are meant to remove the illusions that prevent growth. Inner strength is built through daily practice. Control your speech when anger invites you to speak carelessly. Control your attention when distractions attempt to steal your purpose. Control your desires when they demand more than what is necessary. Each act of self-command strengthens the foundation of your character. Marcus Aurelius understood that a person's true worth is measured by the quality of their actions, not by external circumstances. He reminded himself that the obstacle placed before him could become an opportunity to practice virtue. A challenge does not have to defeat you. It can become the training ground where your better qualities are developed. Do not seek a life without pressure. Seek a mind that can carry pressure without losing its principles. The goal is not to remove every difficulty. The goal is to become the kind of person who can meet difficulty with calm judgment. Practice accepting small discomforts intentionally. Do not always choose the easiest path. Sometimes delay unnecessary comfort. Sometimes complete the task you would rather postpone. Sometimes remain patient when impatience feels natural. These moments teach the mind that desire does not command you. Seneca wrote about the importance of preparing the mind before hardship arrives. A person who trains only during peaceful times will struggle when challenges appear. But a person who practices wisdom daily carries strength into every situation. Your relationships also reveal your inner condition. If another person's behavior can instantly control your emotions, then you have given them authority over your peace. This does not mean ignoring wrongdoing. It means responding from reason instead of surrendering to uncontrolled reactions. Inner strength is not harshness, it is balance. It is the ability to remain firm without becoming bitter, to speak truth without cruelty, and to endure difficulty without losing your humanity. Every evening, examine your actions. Look at the moments where you were guided by virtue and the moments where you were guided by weakness. Do not hide from your mistakes. A person who refuses to see their faults cannot correct them. The rebuilding of yourself is not a single dramatic event. It is a daily process of removing what weakens you and strengthening what makes you worthy. Patience is built through patient actions. Courage is built through courageous actions. Wisdom is built through thoughtful choices. Do not measure your progress by how comfortable life feels. Measure it by how well you govern yourself when life becomes uncomfortable. The strongest person is not the one who controls everything outside themselves. It is the person who has gained control over their own mind, desires, judgments, and actions. Rebuild yourself through discipline. Strengthen yourself through virtue. Return every day to the work of becoming a person who can be trusted by their own conscience. Your inner foundation determines everything that follows. Build it carefully. Build it with reason. Build it with the quiet strength of a mind that no longer depends on the world to remain steady. Number 7. Accept pain and grow stronger. Pain is not the thing that breaks a person. The judgment that pain should not exist is what creates the deepest struggle. Life will bring loss, disappointment, rejection, failure, and uncertainty. The question is not whether you will face difficulty. The question is whether difficulty will make you weaker or reveal the strength you have refused to develop. The undisciplined mind sees pain as an enemy. It asks, "Why is this happening to me?" It searches for escape before understanding. It complains about the weight before learning how to carry it. But the Stoic mind looks at hardship differently. It does not seek suffering, but it does not run from suffering either. It recognizes that every challenge is an opportunity to practice wisdom, courage, and self-control. Many people are defeated by events long before events truly defeat them. They create a second suffering through resistance, fear, and endless complaints. A difficult situation appears, and then the mind adds anger, regret, and imagined futures filled with disaster. The original difficulty is one burden. The uncontrolled judgment becomes another. Your first discipline is to separate the event from your reaction to it. Something happened, that is reality. The story you create about what it means is your responsibility. This does not mean ignoring pain. It means refusing to surrender your reason to pain. Epictetus taught that we should not demand that events happen according to our wishes, but learn to wish that events happen as they do and meet them with wisdom. This is not passive acceptance. It is the strength to work with reality instead of wasting energy fighting what has already arrived. Consider the moments that tested you, the failures that embarrassed you, the losses that changed your path, the hardships you believed you could not survive. You are standing here because you endured them. Yet instead of recognizing your ability to withstand difficulty, you often focus only on avoiding the next challenge. A person who avoids all discomfort never discovers their own capacity. Strength is not found in a life where nothing challenges you. Strength is found when you remain guided by virtue while challenges surround you. Begin each morning with preparation. Remind yourself that today may contain obstacles. Someone may misunderstand you. A plan may fail. An expectation may not be fulfilled. This awareness is not pessimism. It is training the mind to remain steady when reality does not match your preference. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way." The meaning is not that every hardship is pleasant or desirable. The meaning is that your response to hardship determines whether it destroys you or develops you. The same difficulty that breaks an undisciplined person can strengthen a person guided by reason. Practice facing small difficulties voluntarily. Choose patience when you want immediate answers. Choose discipline when you want comfort. Choose silence when anger wants expression. These moments prepare your character for greater trials because the mind becomes stronger through repeated acts of self-command. Pain also reveals your attachments. You suffer deeply when you believe something external is necessary for your peace. You believe you cannot be whole without a certain outcome, possession, relationship, or approval. But Stoicism teaches that the only true good is the condition of your own character. You can lose things outside yourself and still remain honorable. You can face uncertainty and still remain calm. You can experience disappointment and still choose wisdom. Your circumstances can change, but your ability to act with virtue remains available. Seneca often reflected on the importance of preparing the mind for adversity before adversity arrives. The person who expects life to be effortless will always feel betrayed by reality. The person who understands that difficulty is part of existence can meet hardship with greater composure. When pain appears, do not immediately ask how to escape it. Ask what it is teaching you. Is it revealing impatience? Is it exposing attachment? Is it showing you where your discipline is weak? Every challenge carries information about your character. Each evening, examine how you responded to difficulty. Did you complain before acting? Did you allow emotion to control your judgment? Did you make the situation heavier through your own thoughts? This reflection transforms pain into instruction. Remember, accepting pain does not mean becoming cold or without feeling. Stoicism does not ask you to stop being human. It asks you to stop being ruled by every feeling that appears. You may experience hardship, but you choose whether hardship defines your actions. The strongest mind is not the mind that has never suffered. It is the mind that has suffered and learned. It is the mind that has faced disappointment and remained honorable. It is the mind that has encountered uncertainty and continued forward with reason. Do not waste your struggles by only wishing they had never happened. Use them. Let them reveal your weaknesses so you can correct them. Let them test your principles so you can strengthen them. Pain will visit your life. Difficulty will appear. The world will not always be gentle, but you have the ability to meet every moment with a disciplined mind and a virtuous character. Do not ask for an easier path. Build yourself into someone who can walk any path with wisdom, through acceptance, discipline, and reason. The very experiences that once weakened you can become the foundation of your strength. Number 8. Choose virtue over old habits. Every day you make a choice between two forces within yourself. One force seeks what is easy, familiar, and comfortable. The other seeks what is honorable, disciplined, and worthy. The direction of your life is determined by which one you choose to obey. Your old habits do not control you because they are stronger than you. They control you because they have been practiced longer than your discipline. A habit repeated many times begins to feel like part of your identity. But Stoicism teaches that your character is shaped by your choices, not by your past patterns. Look honestly at your daily actions. Do you avoid difficult conversations because discomfort feels unpleasant? Do you delay important tasks because immediate comfort feels better? Do you allow anger to speak before reason has a chance to respond? These moments may seem small, but they reveal the principles you are actually living by. A person is not transformed by what they intend to do. A person is transformed by what they repeatedly choose. The Stoic path begins with recognizing that pleasure, comfort, and approval are not the highest goals of life. The highest goal is virtue. To live with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control is to live according to your true purpose as a rational human being. Your old habits often promise relief, but deliver weakness. They tell you that avoiding difficulty will protect you, but avoidance slowly removes your confidence. They tell you that giving in to every desire will satisfy you, but uncontrolled desire only creates dependence. The disciplined mind asks a different question. Not, what do I feel like doing, but what action reflects the person I want to become? Epictetus taught that freedom comes from mastery over yourself. If your impulses decide your actions, then you are not truly choosing. You are simply following whatever feeling appears strongest in the moment. Practice creating a moment of reflection before your usual reactions. When the old habit appears, do not immediately obey it. Observe it, name it. Ask whether this action comes from reason or from weakness. This small act of awareness creates the space where a different choice becomes possible. Each morning, Choose the virtues you will practice. Decide that you will be patient before someone tests your patience. Decide that you will be disciplined before temptation appears. Decide that you will act with fairness before someone gives you a reason to become bitter. Preparation allows virtue to lead instead of impulse. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that a person must focus on the quality of their own actions rather than the behavior of others. He understood that the only meaningful victory is the victory of the mind over its own disorder. Your old habits often survive because you blame circumstances. You say, "I act this way because people treat me this way." You say, "I cannot change because my past shaped me this way." But Stoic discipline removes these excuses by returning responsibility to the place where change is possible, your own judgment and actions. You may not control what happens around you, but you always have a choice in how you meet it. Virtue is not proven during easy moments. Anyone can appear calm when nothing challenges them. Character is revealed when you are tired, disappointed, criticized, or tempted. Those moments are not interruptions to your growth. They are the exact moments where growth happens. Seneca taught that a person must examine their life honestly and not allow time to pass without improvement. Every day you delay changing a harmful habit, you strengthen it. Every day you practice virtue, you make virtue easier to choose. Do not wait until you feel motivated. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline means acting according to reason, even when emotion does not support you. If you struggle with anger, practice restraint before anger arrives. If you struggle with laziness, complete your responsibilities before seeking comfort. If you struggle with seeking approval, remind yourself that your character matters more than the opinions of others. The replacement of old habits happens through repeated acts of virtue. You do not become patient by wishing for patience. You become patient by practicing patience. You do not become courageous by admiring courage. You become courageous by choosing courage when fear appears. Each evening, examine your choices. Where did an old habit speak louder than reason? Where did you choose convenience over character? Where did you act according to your principles, even when it was difficult? This examination is not a punishment, it is training. The person you become is created in these daily decisions that often seem insignificant. A single choice may feel small, but thousands of choices create a life. Stop asking whether change is possible. The evidence is found in every moment where you choose differently from before. The old self weakens whenever you refuse to repeat its actions. Choose virtue when habit calls for weakness. Choose reason when emotion demands control. Choose discipline when comfort asks you to surrender. Your life will always be shaped by something. It can be shaped by unconscious habits, passing emotions, and uncontrolled desires, or it can be shaped by wisdom, virtue, and deliberate choice. The Stoic does not seek to become perfect overnight. The Stoic seeks to become better through honest practice every single day. The person you want to become is built through the actions you choose now. Let virtue become your habit. Let reason become your guide. Let your character become stronger than your old patterns. Number 9. Rise beyond your former self. The person you were is not the limit of the person you can become. Yet, many people continue living according to an outdated version of themselves. They allow old mistakes, old fears, and old weaknesses to speak louder than their present ability to choose wisely. Your former self was created by previous decisions. Your future self will be created by the decisions you make now. The mistake is believing that because you once acted a certain way, you are condemned to act that way forever. The Stoic understands that every moment is a new opportunity to practice virtue. The past provides lessons, but it does not hold authority over the present. Your previous actions may explain where you have been, but they do not determine where you must go. Look at the person you were before. Were you controlled by anger? Were you ruled by comfort? Did you seek approval more than integrity? Did you allow fear to make choices for you? Do not hide these truths from yourself. Honest examination is not an attack on your character. It is the beginning of improvement. A person cannot rise beyond themselves while protecting the habits that keep them weak. The mind often creates an attachment to the familiar, even when the familiar causes suffering. People defend old behaviors because those behaviors feel like part of their identity. They say, "This is just who I am." But Stoicism teaches that your true nature is not found in uncontrolled impulses. It is found in your capacity to reason and choose virtue. Epictetus taught that progress comes from focusing on the improvement of your own character rather than comparing yourself with others. Your task is not to become someone else. Your task is to become a person who lives according to wisdom. Begin each day by asking yourself a serious question. What action today would prove that I am no longer controlled by my former weaknesses? Let the answer guide your choices. Transformation is not a feeling, it is a practice. If you once avoided responsibility, accept responsibility today. If you once reacted with anger, practice restraint today. If you once surrendered to distractions, protect your attention today. The person beyond your former self is built through present actions, not future promises. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that human beings must continually return to their purpose and act according to reason. He understood that the mind must not remain trapped in yesterday's failures when it has the ability to act with wisdom today. Your former self often returns through small moments. It appears when you make excuses. It appears when you blame others. It appears when you choose temporary relief over lasting character. These moments are not signs that you cannot change. They are reminders that your discipline must continue. Do not measure your growth by whether old weaknesses disappear instantly. Measure it by how quickly you recognize them and return to virtue. A disciplined person does not expect perfection. A disciplined person expects responsibility. They understand that every day will bring opportunities to either strengthen or weaken their character. Practice the Stoic exercise of viewing yourself from a distance. Imagine observing your own actions as if you were watching another person. Would you see someone guided by wisdom or someone controlled by impulses? Would you see someone living intentionally or someone simply reacting to whatever appears? This honest perspective removes the excuses the mind creates to protect itself. Seneca taught that improvement requires examining our lives with seriousness and refusing to waste time on habits that do not lead toward a better character. Time continues moving whether you improve or remain unchanged. Each day either strengthens the person you are becoming or reinforces the person you are trying to leave behind. Your environment may not change immediately. Other people may not recognize your effort. Results may not appear quickly. But the Stoic does not measure progress by external rewards. The Stoic measures progress by the quality of their choices. Release the need to prove that you have changed. Let your actions demonstrate it. A person who truly rises beyond their former self does not need constant explanation. Their discipline becomes visible through the way they speak, respond, endure, and act. Each evening, review the person you were that day. Did you move closer to your principles? Did you allow old patterns to return? Did you choose wisdom when the easier option was available? This daily examination keeps you awake to your own development. You are not required to carry every version of yourself forever. Some parts of you were created through ignorance. Some were created through fear. Some were created through a lack of discipline. They do not deserve loyalty simply because they are familiar. Rise beyond your former self by becoming faithful to virtue rather than your old identity. The person you become tomorrow is shaped by the choices you make today. Leave behind what no longer serves reason. Strengthen what reflects wisdom. Continue the work of building a character that is not controlled by the past, but guided by principle. Your former self had its time. Learn from it. Thank it for the lessons. Then move forward with a mind prepared to live better. Number 10. Become the master of yourself. The greatest victory you can achieve is not defeating another person, gaining more possessions, or controlling the world around you. The greatest victory is mastering yourself. A person who cannot govern their own thoughts, desires, and reactions remains a prisoner even if they appear successful from the outside. Many people spend their lives trying to control things that were never theirs to command. They chase approval, demand certain outcomes, and become disturbed when reality refuses to follow their expectations. But while they attempt to control everything outside themselves, they neglect the one place where true power exists, their own mind. Self-mastery begins with a clear understanding of what belongs to you. Your choices belong to you. Your judgments belong to you. Your actions belong to you. But the opinions of others, the events of the world, and the final results of every effort do not belong to you. Peace begins when you stop placing your energy where your authority does not exist. Epictetus taught that no person is truly free until they have learned to govern themselves. Freedom is not doing whatever your impulses demand. Freedom is having the strength to choose what is right, even when impulses demand something else. Examine your daily life carefully. How often does anger choose your words? How often does fear choose your decisions? How often does desire convince you that something temporary is more important than your character? These moments reveal whether you are directing your mind or simply being directed by it. The person who masters themselves does not eliminate every emotion. They learn not to surrender their reason to every emotion. Anger may appear, but wisdom decides the response. Fear may appear, but courage decides the action. Desire may appear, but discipline decides whether it should be followed. Begin each morning with a commitment to self-government. Before the demands of the day arrive, remind yourself that your greatest responsibility is not to control circumstances, but to control the person you bring into those circumstances. Ask yourself, what kind of person will I choose to be today? Will you be someone who complains when things become difficult, or someone who searches for the right action? Will you be someone who reacts immediately, or someone who allows reason to guide the moment? Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reflected on the importance of ruling the mind before attempting to influence anything else. He understood that the quality of a person's life depends on the quality of their inner discipline. A restless mind creates suffering even in favorable conditions. A disciplined mind can remain steady even when conditions are difficult. Self-mastery requires constant attention because the mind naturally seeks the easier path. It prefers comfort over effort, reaction over reflection, and immediate satisfaction over lasting virtue. This is why discipline must become a daily practice rather than a one-time decision. Train yourself in ordinary moments. When you want to complain, pause and examine whether complaint improves the situation. When you want to respond with anger, wait and ask whether your response reflects wisdom. When you want to abandon a responsibility, remember that character is built by fulfilling duties even when motivation is absent. Seneca warned against allowing life to pass without examining how we use our time and our choices. A person who does not govern themselves eventually becomes governed by distractions, habits, and external pressures. Your attention is one of your most valuable possessions. Wherever your attention goes, your mind follows. If you constantly give your attention to comparison, resentment, and unnecessary worries, your character will be shaped by those things. If you direct your attention toward virtue and purposeful action, your mind becomes stronger. Practice the evening examination. Review the moments where you were ruled by impulse and the moments where you acted with discipline. Do not judge yourself with bitterness. Judge yourself with honesty. The purpose is not to punish yourself, but to improve yourself. The master of themselves is not someone who never struggles. It is someone who continues returning to reason after every struggle. They understand that growth is not measured by never falling into weakness. It is measured by the willingness to rise through wisdom. Do not search for power in controlling others. You cannot own another person's thoughts, choices, or behavior. Attempting to dominate what belongs to others only creates frustration. The strongest person is the one who has complete responsibility over their own character. A person who has mastered themselves can enter any situation without losing their foundation. Praise does not make them arrogant. Criticism does not destroy them. Success does not corrupt them. Failure does not define them. They know their true possession is not wealth, status, or recognition. Their true possession is the ability to act with virtue. The journey of self-mastery never ends because every day presents new opportunities to practice discipline. Every conversation, every challenge, every desire, and every decision becomes a place where your character is shaped. Become the person who can be trusted by your own mind. Become the person whose actions match their principles. Become the person who does not need the world to obey them because they have learned to govern themselves. Master your thoughts. Master your choices. Master your actions. When you become the ruler of yourself, nothing outside you can easily steal the peace that comes from a disciplined and virtuous mind.